one of the biggest mistakes people make in marketing is lack of consistency. If you're not exactly sure what you're selling, there's not consistency there. Be sure as hell that your prospects have no idea what's going on. What I would do is create what I call a sales copy blueprint. Before you went and looked at the funnels and your YouTube content, first I would create like a little one pager of like who your avatar is. So avatar is United States medical students going to, let's say, one of the top 50 medical schools, and they are within 6 months of taking their test and they're looking for tutoring. So that's the avatar. Welcome everybody to the first ever Scaling School member makeover. Super excited to have you in here. This is where we take a Scaling School member and we put them in the hot seat here. We audit their business, and I do my best to try to help them remove bottlenecks and help them scale. So with that being said, I have Mr. Mark Easton here with me today. Mark, how are you doing today, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Ravi? Great to chat with you.
I'm doing incredible. Just for everybody tuning in right now, I know you and I've already chatted a little bit about the business, but why don't you tell everybody just a little background on you? Because I think it's pretty cool that you're also, I think, a neurosurgeon as well. Also, in addition to that, the business itself and what you guys do.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of background about myself. I'm a physician. Specialty is neurosurgery, so brain and spine surgery. And I have a business partner who is a neuroradiologist that was trained at Harvard as well. 7, 8 years ago, we during like our own training, we went through prep for some board tests they have to take as a physician, which kind of spawned the business idea of continuing to provide like education online with advising and tutoring to students coming through who were going through the same thing that we've been through. So that's kind of where that journey started. We both of us started Roadmap to Residency to kind of help medical students improve their test scores, improve their applications to get into the specialty that they are applying to hope to get into. So that's kind of the background of our company. Also do a couple other things with, I took Ravi's integrator course. So I do some integration stuff with a couple other businesses, including one that my wife runs, but mainly we're focused on this, the tutoring course today. So that's kind of the intro for that.
Yeah, thanks for the update. First of all, it's awesome that you were in Remote Integrator Academy. I'm sure those skills, I hope, have helped you also as you're obviously launching this roadmap to residency as well. Walk me through a little bit about the actual product itself. So obviously you're helping medical students improve their test scores and applications for medical school, et cetera, et cetera. So walk me through a little bit of like price points, what the actual deliverables are. Is it group coaching? Is it one-on-one with you? Is there any kind of promise of a transformation? And then we'll take it from there.
So currently what we sell is kind of a couple products. So they're all similar. Is the base is like a school group similar to this, where it's video courses. I think we have 8 of them, ranging from there's tutoring for step 1 and 2, as well as advising for like your application and interview process. So those are like the kind of like the product suite. They all pair together. They take courses first for tutoring. They finish that. Once they're done with the test, then they apply, and we help them with that. And the price point is ranging. If they just want like the video course, it's about $2,000, whereas if they want like a group tutoring, it's about $5,000, and if they want one-on-one sessions, you can go up to about $8,000. Most people, the video courses come if you join like the group tutoring or group advising sessions that we hold in the school group. Then then that's 5,000 is the price point for that. I'd say like the bottleneck that we have is getting qualified leads. We can run like a Facebook ad or something, get a lot of different leads and everything, get like book out a calendar, and they're all medical students. It's just we don't have enough organic content, I don't think, to like get them to know, like, and trust when and be warmed up enough, like a lot of the videos talk about on a school here, and like as Robbie's mentioned. So they're not necessarily showing up ready to buy, and it's also like a higher price point for a student, because if you think about a lot of other products where you're selling to like a business that has generating cash flow, that's like $5,000 is still a decent amount of money, but it's less than if you're like a college student or like a medical student that's living on ramen or something. So that's the kind of, I think, the struggle where we're at. I know, but I do know that a lot of students do tutoring and everything like that for all kinds of different things. So we're definitely not making the excuse that people just can't afford it. It's that they don't probably see enough value to want yet on when they're showing up.
And for the 2,000, 5,000, 8,000, how long is that for? Is it unlimited? Is it a certain like amount of weeks for? Because I know there's the video courses, but obviously the group and one-on-one. What is the timeline for that?
The video course and school group is unlimited. It's basically be in it until you match, be in it until you are done with your test, anything that's the group tutoring, like pass, like we do like twice a month meetings for advising, but anything that's like more one-on-one or the tutoring stuff, the tutoring is limited to in the package is 60 hours, and then the one-on-one stuff is kind of like an a la carte, like if you want like a personal statement or need help with your CV or that kind of stuff.
Okay, and for the school group, how are you selling that? Is that over the phone sales calls?
It's like over Zoom. So basically, we don't necessarily talk about the school. We kind of like discuss to them, get on, kind of offer them some help on their like a free consult. Tell them, just kind of see what their goals are, see where their struggles are at, and then see, where they'd be kind of what would be the best fit, whether it's just like the video thing or if they need like, the group meetings or more one-on-one attention. And then we sell it through that Zoom call. Sometimes they'll buy on the call. Other times it's like a follow-up kind of thing. Or then I'd say majority of the time is kind of like, I'm kind of interested, fade to black, like don't hear back from them kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been there before. And walk me through the current monthly. I think you said you recently launched this. So what are you guys doing right now monthly?
Monthly, we're about in like it's kind of variable. So like the highest month that we've had, I think, was like 25,000, and then some months it's like zero, other months it's like 5,000. It's just really inconsistent like revenue.
And how does that kind of play out? Like walk me through the 2,000, 5,000, 8,000. What's the percentage of which product you're selling for that? Let's say whatever. You can throw an average in here and say 10 to $1,000 a month if you include the high months and the low months, something like that. What would you say is like the split up of that?
I'd say the split up that's probably about 4,800 a month, like probably the split up of that, because we've been doing about
what's the percentage of, I'm sorry, what's the percentage of like these many people bought 50% bought the
okay.
school course, 50% bought,
Mhm.
yeah, walk me through that.
So the percentage would be probably about 50% by the school course, and then probably like the other half, it's more like the group tutoring with the school course. And we have like maybe, I know that's 100%, but like very few buy like the one-on-one stuff. People it's like something they upgrade to like after they do stuff later. We have like a couple people do that.
And for the people that are buying the school course and buying the group, how are they currently finding you? Are they coming through different for the school course versus the group? How do they find you?
It's pretty much, we have a couple different channels that they come through. We have instantly cold email. We have like an expandy for LinkedIn outreach. We have Facebook ads with a funnel, and then we have a VA that does direct cold messaging. They all come in, and we have like infusion slots to keep and like a go high level that we're kind of trialing both. So they come in there, and then we have if it's like a Facebook ad form that they agree to be text, then we have like an AI chat bot that does like an outreach, has a conversation, and books them into a calendar meeting. And then
Is there one of those channels that you feel is like the larger one that's actually bringing in a specific product or offer?
So the ones that I'd say is larger is either kind of, I'd say like word of mouth from old clients from like a year or two ago, or like direct, like either like the VA or LinkedIn kind of like outreach, one of the two. I say as far as people that buy. Now, as far as like volume of like people that get on a call or sales leads, it's definitely like Facebook ads. We get a ton of leads, well, not a ton, but like a decent amount of leads that are like medical students. But those are like, so I guess like with medical students, there's like people, a lot of them want to come to the United States. I guess with like direct outreach, we're getting like American grads that normally have additional like funding to be able to invest in this. Whereas with Facebook ads, we help a lot of like international graduates, which is great. But sometimes with like Facebook ads, you're getting international graduates. Facebook is finding a lot of those. And then, sometimes the people you're talking to, that price point would be like 3 years of income, like in their country or something like that. But they're still wanting to come to the States. So Facebook gets a lot of that.
Okay. And this is super helpful. I have like the way that I work is I'm going to keep on taking a few more things from you, and then I'm going to start talking about, or we're just going to straighten implementation. So follow-up question for you on some of the stuff that you've had here. The people that are coming into the video course, you're saying it's 50% of people doing the video course, 50% of people doing the group. The people that are coming into the video course, do they ever ascend into the group after they come into just the video course, or is it pretty much they just stay always in the video course?
Some of them do ascend into the group because they'll come in and watch the video course. They'll like say, "Oh, that's great," and then we'll be like, "Well, actually, we have a couple tutors that work with us," and then we'll be like, "Well, actually, the tutor that did this video course is the one that you're going to be in with the group course," and then they'll be like, "Oh, that's great. Let me join in," and we kind of go from there.
And then walk me through a little bit, just so I can get a better understanding the messaging. Like, obviously, if you're trying to get somebody, you said like, people fade to black or they get on the call and like, let's just put finances to the side, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But another big concern I see with marketing and sales when people are having difficulty getting qualified sales calls and closing them is that there's not enough urgency
Mhm.
on the call for them to be able to. They're like maybe the pain is somewhat there, but it's just like, oh, they have enough time to figure out another solution. So I don't actually know. I don't know if you know about my background, but I took the law school admission tests, which are
Mhm. Yeah, I
really
know it.
difficult. Okay, so
Mhm.
like I know that process, and typically people start studying like a year before that, and that's like so. The people that are coming to you, are they 6 weeks before they take the test, 6 months before they take a test? Like, where are they along that journey?
No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I would compare it exactly to like so like the MCAT and law school exam or like that. This is like medical students that are like basically be like law students, similar you can think of them taking like the bar. So this would be like the bar exam that we're helping them with. But they're normally like 6 weeks to 6 months out, I'd say. Like a majority is probably like 2 months out. But I see a lot of the people that we get, some of them are like especially with like more the cold traffic. It's more like people like I was in med school and like I might go back and like I'm thinking about doing this again and this was a dream I had and I did all this schooling and I don't want to let it go to waste kind of thing. So we get a lot of that from cold leads. The warm stuff is like I'm going to take it in like 2 months and I'm ready to go. And those are the ones that are a lot easier to close for sure because then there's like as you said urgency of man I need help, like this is 2 months away, it's like the biggest test I ever take and then that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense. And so now that I'm getting more clarity, the people that you're selling are people that are already in medical school trying to be doctors, and this is what they take in order to be a certified doctor, essentially, for lack of a better phrase.
Exactly. Yeah. So they take this to give you it's the United USMLE United States Licensing Medical Exam, so a certified doctor. And then those are like the boards that we help them with. Once they're done with that, then we help them. When you finish med school, you graduate as a doctor. But there's like different types of doctors, like orthopedic, neurosurgery, family medicine. Then you apply to those different residencies, and that's how if you get accepted, that whatever you get accepted to, that's the type of doctor you become. And some of the specialties are more competitive than others. So that's where we help them with that too. But that's after
So
the
you're
board
you're
test.
helping them take hey, we're gonna help you take this MCAT test and become a doctor, but also help you with your application process for the residency to get
Mhm.
into the specialty that you want to get into.
Exactly. And that's what separates us and what's different from just like a test prep company where it's like there's like a lot of them out there that are like Kaplan and other things like that. They help
I took
you pass
Kaplan,
your
yeah.
test and then you're done with it, right? And their Kaplan's really good. And then so they have like a lot of different things, but then when you're done with them, you're done versus like what we do is we do that plus it's everybody in the group's a physician that's been through it. And so they know, and then we also help you actually like take that score and then get into the reason that you're actually taking that test because you can do really good and still not get in or still not get what you want. So that's it's a combo of both good grades, good scores, and then also like doing the right rotations and the right kind of things with your time when you're like applying for like the additional training slash your first job, kind of like internship, I guess, like mentorship is what you can call a residency, sort of like.
Okay. Do you have any kind of like average numbers of like the average medical student that works with us passes it with this score and gets into this residency in this time frame? Do you have any of that stuff, or you guys just haven't tracked that yet?
We have some of it. So as everyone that's worked with us is passed. We've had about 25 medical students go through the course, and they've all passed it. We've had two that did like two or three like sessions, and then just like, oh, I don't want to do this, and they just kind of quit. So I don't know where we count those in because they never took the test. And then so far we have had like 98% of people match in the first within the first year of like applying for residency after they take the test and everything like that. Our original business model was just actually helping people get into them. It wasn't tutoring, and then
And
we expand
98% match, is that like match of their dream residency or just like match a residency that they like in general?
match a residency. We encourage
Okay.
people to apply for kind of two specialties, one that's like a dream one and then one that's like a backup safety one, just because the key is get in if even if you don't get the one, and you can transfer over once you're in, and it's a lot easier to do. So pretty much everyone has gotten their first choice. I'd say probably 85-90% of people have gotten their first choice, and we've had like 5% of people get their like second choice specialty. And then out of those, a couple of them have like switched over. Some of them have been like, oh, I actually like this and stayed with that. And then we've had two people that we've worked with that didn't get in the first time, and then they're going through it with us the second time, but we think they're going to match this time. So we just like stick with them. If it doesn't work, that's kind of like we say, stay in the group. We're still here to support you and try to help you get in and everything.
And is that the $2,000 people, or is that the $5,000 people that you're talking about that you'll just stay with them and keep on working with them?
Yeah, technically it's both of them. Basically, the $2,000 people, what we limit them to is we have like a twice a month like group meeting like this where everybody can come in and ask questions and that kind of stuff. We limit them to that. And then the tutoring stuff we limit them to 60 hours, and then after, because there's like a tutor involved in that, so we have to like they're on payroll and everything, so we have to, like, if they go past 60 hours they can, of course, buy more tutoring hours, but if they need it, we haven't had anyone that needed it yet, but if they did, that's available, or they can come to like the group sessions through like question and answer, but that's more application targeted.
Okay. All right. Just because you've been so good with me answering these questions, I still have a bunch of other things that I want to ask, but I just kind of want to start talking about some things and talking about some implementation. I know we want to talk about marketing and sales and leads, but ironically, it's almost always starts with the offer. So I kind of want to talk about your product suite a little bit, some of the adjustments there. Then we'll talk about the marketing message, and then we'll talk about maybe even actually pulling up some of the funnels and talking about what we would do or adjust there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great. No, 100% agree. Like, I think that's what I've taken away from the scaling school a lot is, it's all about the offer.
Okay. So here are my thoughts that I have, and I'm just going to rip these through, and you can stop me or we can go deeper on any of them. So first and foremost, at let's say average $5,000 to $10,000 a month, having three products is way too much, in my opinion. You really just need, in my opinion, really just need one product. But I'm going to talk about the adjustment that I would make in a moment here. But in my opinion, I would get rid of the one-on-one tutoring because you said that it was the least used one. It's also the most time-intensive one on top of that. So for that reason, I would just hold it. I'm not saying we'll never come back to it again, but one-on-one, like for someone to do something one-on-one in today's day and age, it better be you're making a lot of money from it, really, is what needs to be there. So my recommendation would be get rid of the one-on-one. Let's put it on the shelf. Let's keep the school group and the group coaching. The other thing that I would say is that I'm actually going to launch this inside Scaling School in the next 30, 60 days, but it's the idea about MRR, school communities, how to do local ticket communities correctly. And my opinion is that I'm careful because like I always want to be cautious about telling people to change stuff in their business when things are working. But with total due respect, it's not like things are working unbelievably well. Like it's not like I'm going to break this thing that's making $100,000 a month. So if I was coming in here, this was my business. We're going to kind of kill two birds with one stone. So really three birds. So you brought up a really good point. I had another client, Adam, his last name slips my mind, Inside Scaling with Systems, but he had a very similar offer, helping people pass their MCATs. And he actually had a pretty big Instagram following, and we just crushed it for him. And we had the same issue that you were going through, which is that a lot of these people don't have a lot of money, right? They're financially, it's difficult. They're already likely in debt, getting to the school. Now it's like they have to go more in debt in order to pass the test, et cetera, et cetera. So in my opinion, here's a few things I would do. No matter what, the school group with a video course for $2,000, we need to immediately make that at the very bare minimum an annual payment for $2,000. One of the biggest mistakes I made when I launched Scaling with Systems was that everything was just lifetime. And this is a great lesson for everyone that's watching this video right here. It's like very easy when you first launch. Oh yeah, you get access to it. But for those of you that don't know, lifetime is a long time, So, I was still servicing clients like 4 years after I launched Scaling with Systems. And of course, when you first launch it, you're like, oh yeah, one-on-ones with me, you're giving everything away. And some people like were still taking advantage of that 4 years later. And that's not their fault. That's my fault for offering in the beginning. So I'm just saying, learn from my lessons, which is that I wouldn't do unlimited. I would just say, like you said, people are anywhere between 6 months and 12 months from taking the tests. So I would imagine that, or I'm sorry, it's somewhere between 0 and 6 months between taking the test. So I would say that I would make it an annual membership for scaling, keep on saying Scaling School, for school, for $2,000 a year. And that way, number one, you're starting to build annual recurring revenue. And number two, you're going to get paid again when it comes back in. And so you don't kind of shoot yourself in the foot by continuing to work for free, which nobody here should ever do. And then number three, my other proposition I would have for you is I would seriously consider offering the school group at an annual at $2,000 a year. And then you may consider even offering a monthly price point in addition to that, where if they want to come in and do it monthly, they can do it for monthly because you have a group of people that don't have a lot of money. And you have this platform already built out. And so you could offer them the monthly, or you could offer them the annually, and you can just do the price difference. And the other thing I would recommend doing is potentially removing those 2 calls that you do a month with these people. Because one of the biggest mistakes I made when I launched Scaling School originally was that I did too much in Scaling School that kind of cannibalized my high ticket offers a little bit. I was doing coaching calls and
Mhm.
everything else inside of there. And so then it was like much more difficult for people to ascend. We actually were getting a lot of people to ascend, but it was somewhat difficult because it was like they were getting a lot of the elements inside of this of Scaling School. So then why would you do the ascension? So I would actually take away the coaching calls that you're doing, and you can kind of consider maybe modeling after some of the stuff that we do, where instead of doing like group calls, you can maybe get on with one person where, everybody can learn and listen to it, and they can kind of get a taste. Like everybody here is technically getting a taste of what it would be like to work with me one-on-one. And so now you're having this like much more collaborative environment where it's still 1 hour of your time, but you're going deep on one person versus trying to get like 51 questions in a Q&A call at the same time. And then you remove the Q&A calls, and now you have a better ascension path into the group coaching model for the $5,000 in order for them to get tutored on a more kind of, for lack of a better word, one-on-one basis there. And so that will also help solve your problem that we're kind of killing a few birds with one stone here. We are giving a affordable option to people that can't necessarily afford maybe to work with you for $5,000, $8,000. We're also giving an option that costs you almost nothing to fulfill on. It's essentially a digital product. Your margin is going to be incredibly high on it. And it also acts as like a incubator and a content incubator to push people eventually into the $5,000 group coaching one, which I'm going to talk about. I still think we should be running ads to that $5,000 one as well. But if you're already getting traffic and there's already this segment of people that kind of want to taste that a little bit, I think that having this school community can help you capture some of that market share. And once again, the most important thing here is that it's no additional cost to you. It's no additional work to you, and you're just making it incredibly, incredibly
Mhm.
leveraged. And sure, first few months, you're not going to become a millionaire off of it. But over a year, if we continuously push people into that, you could start to build some serious MRR and ARR and start sending people up into the scaling, or I'm sorry, not scaling, into your group coaching program. Make sense?
That makes total sense.
Okay. I'm going to continue on, but any questions on that so far?
No, that makes total sense. I think that's a good idea with adding like a monthly. We've thought about that. The only thing that we've kind of had concern with was I guess if it's we have like the payroll for the tutor, so it's just like getting enough people to say somebody passes there, it was like $2,000 to come in or something like, or it has to be $5,000 still, so it'd be like about like $450 a month or something like that if they pass it in a month or something like that. Because normally with like the if we had like 2 or 3 students in that group, then it would totally cover like the tutor
But
payroll.
we're
But then if we
but how does that affect the $2,000 one? I thought that we just said that we're going to get rid of the group coaching inside of there.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. Yep. So you mean the monthly offer only for like the $2,000 one?
Yeah, the monthly or the annual is the
Mhm.
school
The
community, and
school.
there's
Okay,
no group
perfect.
coaching calls, and it is just the courses. And then you could decide, just to save money on payroll, you could decide to do kind of maybe something like this,
hmm
like a member spotlight or something along those lines, where you're giving that out to
hmm
people once a month, and you don't even
Okay,
have to
that
involve
makes
the
sense.
tutor, and you could
hmm
build a million, 2 million, $3 million a year business with you running it alone just by using that school community. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, that makes total sense.
Cool. And then that can also, obviously that can also pay for the payroll for the tutor in the group coaching side of things. So this is just going to make you
hmm
way more profitable. And I would,
hmm
just because I would be cautious of, I'm fortunate at where I'm at, where like I don't necessarily need the cash right now, so I can offer the $97 a month offer and reach more people. But for
hmm
you, you might want to make the cash faster. So you could just start your school community only at the annual price, right? So it would just
hmm
be the same thing you're selling right now. You would just remove the coaching calls, and you might even
hmm
consider dropping it down a little bit in price in order to get it. But you're switching it from $2,000 lifetime to maybe $2,000 or $1,500 a year. You're removing the
hmm
calls from it, and now it becomes like a true incubator and a true product in your product suite versus
hmm
something that's kind of like this weird thing that's like taking up some of your time and your tutor's time, and maybe not getting you a big enough return. Does that make
hmm
sense?
Yep, makes total sense.
Cool. Now let's shift gears and talk about the group coaching. So I like the group coaching element of things. Obviously, you would want to create your school community with the idea that like you're kind of trying to incubate people a little bit into hopefully going, or at least a small percentage of people, and hopefully going into the group coaching model of things. And my idea around it would still be the $5,000. I guess my question to you is like, if they're 2 months out, do they just like condense that whatever the amount of hours? I think you said like 60 hours. Something. Do they condense that down in those 2 months in order to get it done before they take the test?
Yeah, so basically we just have them, just condense it down into like 60 hours in 2 months versus if they're wanting to do a like larger amount of time, like say they're like, oh, it's like 6 months. We normally tell people, hey, like watch the video course, like here's like the study guide to do for the first 2 or 3 months. And then, when you're like 2, 3 months out, come to the group course. So it's
And
like
and for the calls, is this a like so the how do you track the 60 hours if like it's a group coaching environment? Is it like you tally it up or something?
Yeah, we tally it up for the different people. Mainly the 60 hours is for the one-on-one stuff. But because for the group stuff, we normally only have like 2 or 3 students, so it's pretty easy to every couple months. So it's pretty easy to track. If it gets larger, we probably need a different model of tracking, or just make it like, I mean, if it becomes large enough, then we could just basically unlimit the 60 hours and just like let people be in it for the year or something like that. Because then there'll be enough people to just cover like the payroll for the one tutor, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that what makes the most sense is if we get rid of the one-on-one, I would put the people that get inside the group for $5,000. You should just give them access to the same school that people that are paying the 97 or the $2,000 a
Mhm.
year for, except for now they have access to these additional maybe classes and
Courses.
these
Mhm.
additional coaching calls. So now they can join those coaching calls. And are you paying your tutor by the hour? Is it like a salary? What does that look like?
We're doing it by the hour.
Okay. So could you just like right now, if you did how many coaching calls are you doing a week?
It's variable. So we're trying to like rework some of our like ads and everything. So I'd say a month ago we were doing probably like 16 calls a week. Right now it's like two because we turned off ads because we were just getting a whole bunch of things but not closing any of it. I think we did like 100 sale calls and closed like two. So
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, so I would move the group coaching to being like I don't know enough about the MCATs, but whatever the amount of work that you need to do in order to get someone to pass the MCATs, because you have great
mhm,
numbers here, right? So it's like 100% people that take the test pass, 98% match in the residency. So we don't want to mess with that. But I would get the tutor and I would have them run whatever. The baseline is pretty much one coaching call a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if you had to do two a day or three a day or something along those lines, I would pay someone to just be running those coaching calls.
mhm.
And that would be the $5,000 a month. And then, I mean, I would imagine you could probably get somebody, let's say each coaching call is 2 hours. That's 10 hours a week. That's 40 hours a month. How much is that? How much is that in payroll typically that you would pay for 40 hours a month for a payroll tutor's time?
Probably about 2,000, 2 or 3,000.
Okay. So you got let's say you get one person, not even including what's coming in the school group, but you get one person to pay the $5,000, and you're going to be profitable, technically speaking, if we don't include ad spend, for someone to do 10 hours a week group coaching calls with one call a day, essentially. Does that make sense?
For sure. Yep, 100%. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We just need one person a month to cover that minus ad spend. So
Okay. So then I like that. Then that's how I would structure that and set that up, is that I would do the school for the 2,000, maybe the monthly, a year, and then the 5,000 group, you get access to those same courses, maybe plus some additional courses in addition to that, and maybe some additional support elements. So like, for example, inside scaling with systems, we listen to sales call recordings. We'll
mhm,
review your like entire Facebook ad campaign, all of that stuff. We write the video sales letter for our clients. So it is nice if you're trying to get them to make that jump to like more than a two times cost of what the annual membership is. The group coaching is good, but if you can figure out something that is still super leverageable. So for example, it could be like they get one onboarding call with a tutor during that
mhm,
time together, or they get like something along those lines, essentially would be
mhm,
beneficial to that, really kind of give that personalized touch and make it, it could cost you, like, let's say the cost for a tutor is $50 an hour. If for 1 hour of their time, it would cost you $50, but it could be the value in the client's eyes could be like $5,000 worth of value, right? If,
mhm.
if you kind of, if that makes sense to you. So I think adding one or two personalized support elements that could help them get the transformation faster, increase the value, charge the $5,000. And then I would keep it super simple. I would pretty much just say like, okay, whenever you join, it's $5,000, and then it doesn't matter if you're 2 months away, 1 month away, 6 months away. It's $5,000 and up until you take the test and you get into your residency. So you could add a time frame if you wanted to. But like, for example, when people take the test, are they also applying for, like, how long after the test do they apply for the residency?
Normally about a year, like it's like 6 months to a year, depending. Like it's there's two tests they take before. So if it's the first one is about a year and a half. If it's the second one they're taking, then it's about 3 to 6 months, somewhere like that. And then normally what we've done so far is they'll sign up for the group tutoring stuff, and then a separate package is actually like the like get it, like applying for residency advice and stuff. So that's like a separate like item that they buy.
Oh, so
but
the 5,000 group doesn't include the residency.
Yeah, but it's just the tutoring. And then
Oh.
yeah. But we could but I think it would definitely provide value if we wrap that in, because that part used to be hard to deliver for us, but that's like super systemized now with it's just like a video course effectively with like a once a month meeting, and we get the
The
same
only
results.
concern I have is, let's say somebody's 3 months away from taking their MCATs. How long until they would be done working with you if we included the residency inside of there, all the way to where they get like they get in the residency of their dreams? How long would that timeline be roughly?
Well, if they're doing the MCAT, that'd be 4 years. We don't have an MCAT product, but we've thought about adding that possibly in the future, because that'd be the
Oh, I'm
entire
sorry. Whatever the
pathway.
test is to get into that you're
Because
doing with us.
okay, yeah, no worries. The test that we're doing, it'd be basically, if it's the first one a year and a half, the second one like 3 to 6 months. By the time that they're finished, and then they wait to hear back. But like by the time that they're finished with our help, would be depending on which one. If you're talking about the very first one, a year and a half,
Okay. So you're
which
charging
is
right
why we've
now.
kept them separate.
Yeah, that which makes sense to me. I don't know if I would. It's a little difficult because you're calling it the roadmap, the residency, but I kind of would, and I'm trying to keep you away from now. We're gonna have another product, which is technically like once you get it. But do you have people that come in that just want the help with the residency and not help with the
Yeah,
because they've already taken that test?
yeah, because they've already taken the test and found it. We have a decent amount of people that do that actually. Initially, that's actually what we started with. Technically, if we can just get everyone earlier and get like in front of their like get our like content in front of them, like when they start and everything like that, everyone would just go through the whole pathway. But sometimes people don't see it until like they're right before applying, and then they're done with everything already.
Okay. Yeah, I like the idea. And then the people that are paying for the $2,000 course, are they having the residency stuff included, or that's just the test to get your medical degree?
That's having the residency stuff included too, because we basically kind of like wrap both of those in there with it. And then if they want anything that's like more personalized or anything like that, that's when it kind of goes up or has additional like higher level packages.
That is a
We
tough
could
one.
separate it out.
Yeah, it's a little bit it's hard. It's pretty much two different businesses. I mean, it really is. It's like you're helping
Mhm,
people get past this first test, and then you're helping people get the residency. And so like for the messaging to work, you just got to be super specific with what you're doing and how you're helping people,
mhm.
which might be one of the reasons why you're having difficulty with the quality of sales calls.
Yeah, for
So
marketing, we pretty much just focus on tutoring, just because it's a lot easier to explain in like in ads and everything than like this. There's this esoterical thing of like we'll help you do like people don't get it as much. Everyone knows what tutoring is though, so we don't really even advertise that much on the other
Okay,
one.
I like that, and I'm always about one of our values is simplicity. Okay, so just for the sake of this call, let's not even focus on the residency stuff like that. Well, hopefully we can maybe work together in the future, whatever. I would keep that residency thing just separate from this,
Mm,
because it's like you said, it's a whole other thing. I probably wouldn't even include it inside of this school thing for $2,000. What you could do is have it as a lock course inside of
mhm,
school, and call it like whatever you want to call it, something about residency. And then like if you did sell somebody in the residency thing, like as a one-off thing, you could just give them access to that course. But I wouldn't include it inside of the training that you
mhm,
had unlocked whenever people joined for $2,000, because we just want to keep everything focused
mhm,
on the tutoring for the test. Make sense?
mhm. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, so
Okay.
we can just have it as like a separate locked course that we can give access to on the thing.
All right, that all makes sense to me. So let's like kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about marketing. First of all, are you on board with everything? Everything makes sense? Are you any questions
Yeah,
so far?
no, everything totally makes sense.
So here's my thoughts on the marketing side of things. So, like I just said a second ago, I think the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes people make in marketing is lack of consistency from A to Z. And like, if you're not exactly sure what you're selling and there's not consistency there, you be sure as hell that your prospects have no idea what's going on. And then if people are confused, they just won't book a call or they won't buy or they won't show up, et cetera, et cetera. So what I would do is create what I call a sales copy blueprint. For lack of time here, I'm just going to kind of give you the simplification of it. I would, before you went and looked at the funnels and your YouTube content and all this other stuff, your emails, first I would create like a little one pager of like who your avatar is. So now your avatar is slightly adjusted. So the avatar is people that are in medical school. And I'm going to actually talk about this US thing versus non-US thing. So in my eyes,
Mhm.
I would make it so that your avatar is somebody that's in the United States. Okay. So avatar is United States medical students
Mhm.
that is going to, let's say, one of the top 50 medical schools, and they are within 6 months of taking their test and they're looking for tutoring. So that's the avatar, right? The pain points that
Mhm.
they're experiencing right now is that they know that this test is going to determine whether or not they become a doctor or not, which determines the rest of their life. And their whole family and friends and everybody has seen them in medical school and they've told everybody that they want to be a doctor. And so there's all this societal pressure in order to make sure that you take this test and
Mhm.
actually become the doctor that you were supposed to be. And then you're also in debt already. So you have all this momentous debt. So you obviously have to liquidate it. So those are like the pain points. And then obviously the desire is to like take the test and pass it. But the desire isn't just to take the test and pass it. It's to have a clear roadmap on how to study, what to study, like making the actual tutoring element of it as simple and easy and frictionless as possible. I'm kind of making this up because I don't know it as well as you
Mhm.
do. I'm just comparing it to what I know from taking the law school
Mhm.
admission test, right? So these are all the things that I would use. And then, we like to use like campaign arguments. So whatever you're creating your content, you need to create it what's known as a campaign argument, and it needs to be unique than everything else out there. So, for example, our campaign argument is that there's little trust today in the marketplace. Trust is actually at the lowest it's
Mhm.
ever been in the last 40 years. And because trust is at the lowest it's ever been in the last 40 years, it's difficult to make a sale because trust is required to make sales. And it's even more difficult to make high ticket sales because the amount of trust you have is directly correlated, or the amount of your price is directly correlated with the amount of trust that you need to make a sale.
Mhm.
So lowest trust ever, high ticket people need the most trust ever in order to make sales. And so you have this like discrepancy in the marketplace. And the other of the part of the argument is that the other thing that kind of throws a wrench in this is that the majority of people decide who they're going to work with before they book a sales call. And so most
Mhm.
people out there,
Exactly.
they keep their best content guarded, or they keep it in a 2-minute video sales letter. They try to get people to book a call, but they have no idea who you are, what you do, why they should trust you, et cetera, et cetera. And so you
Mhm.
have like everybody's marketing and sales process is going the exact opposite of the current marketplace. And that's why, for me, I say you need to have the self-sustaining funnel, which is where we move your best content and your campaign argument in front of your sales funnel on a platform like YouTube, where you're starting to nurture and educate people before they even book the call to speak with you. And then by the time they book the call to speak with you, they know exactly who you are, what you do, how you help people. And it's more of like an order taking process than it is a sales call, right? And then I say, of
Mhm.
course, if you want us to install the self-sustaining funnel, then join Scaling School or working with us scaling systems. So that's what's known as a campaign argument. So for you, it could be something like this. I'm just going to make this up, right? But it could be something like, it has never been more competitive than it is today in order to, or it's never been harder than it is today to pass your medical degree or to get your medical degree. In addition to that, it's also never been more competitive as there's more doctors that are graduating from medical school today and trying to enter residency than ever before. And you'd back this up by some kind of stats or claims that would show that, because I'm sure that number is accurate
Mhm.
if it's anything like MBA or law schools, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like
Exactly.
less than the average people who pass the test on their first time is, let's say I'm making stuff up, is without any tutoring is 50% of people. And then of those people that pass the test the first time that don't, I'm sorry, of those people that take the test the first time that don't pass, another 50% never take the test again. And they essentially throw away the last few years of their life in medical school. You had mentioned it earlier, like some people had like done all this work, but they never took the test or something like that.
Mhm.
So like you're kind of leading into this campaign argument and these stats around all the fears that are in these people's heads, right? Which is like, damn, it's hard to take this test. If I don't get it the first time, I may fail. Or if I don't get it the first time, I may never take advantage of it. And if I do it if I do take the test, I may not pass it. And then the score that you get on this test has, and I don't know if this is true, I'm just making stuff up, but the score you get on the test has an impact on what you're gonna, maybe
Mhm.
what residency that you go into, the
Mhm.
quality of the
Exactly.
residency that you have. Yeah. So same thing with the LSAT. So like if I was doing this for the LSAT, it would be like, hey, the LSAT's the most important test you'll ever take in your life. I know I'm shifting gears here. Let me do that on the LSAT because I know it more. If I was writing a video sales letter for the LSAT, and my campaign argument would be, there's never been more lawyers graduating today than ever before in previous history. The average lawyer graduates with around $200,000 in debt and takes a job for about $60,000 a year. So you've just dedicated another additional 3 years of your life and you're $200,000 in debt. The number one determinant how much money you make as a lawyer is what law school you go to. The number one determinant of what law school you go to is what score you get on your LSATs. And the number one determinant of what score you get on your LSAT is how much time and money you invest into taking your law school admission test, right? And so and the problem is that most law school admission test tutoring programs are very outdated and they're very old and they're in person and they're complicated and they kind of leave you to figure it out your own. And that's why we introduce Roadmap to Residency. And this is what we have, which is where we show you step by step in this week program, blah, 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 with these course modules and this roadmap. And we give interactive things, et cetera, et cetera. And then you go into kind of your pitch of your thing of why they need to do. But you kind of need to wind up a little bit and you need to put the pain points inside of there as a logical campaign argument to get to the point of like, this is what Roadmap to Residency is, and this is what we can do for you. I'll take 1 second here. Are you with me in all this? Does this make sense? I know I shifted gear to
Mhm.
law school and that, but it was just easier because I knew more about law school than I do about your test.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And it's effectively the exact same thing, just a different, yeah, they're all the same, whether it's like, business or law or whatever. It's
Okay,
just
then
whatever
perfect.
point you are in your career. Yeah.
Then I would use that exact argument, right? And so now we have this one pager with that information on it. And so now what I would recommend doing is going back out and starting to create content using that one pager. So now all the content you create, short form, YouTube, et cetera, is going to follow this messaging that we've created first. And that's how, when I started on this whole rant, I said, one of the biggest mistakes people have is they don't have consistency of messaging. Now you're going to have consistency of messaging with every single thing that you create because we're looking at this one pager while we're creating content. So for example, you could make a YouTube video on why it's harder now to be a doctor than ever before. You can make another YouTube video on why this test is the most important day of your entire life. You can make another YouTube video on the mistakes that you made studying for your own test because you followed the old frameworks of what people had taught that were outdated. And all of these become like little mini video sales letters that direct people to your main video sales letter, which is going to be what people watch before they book a call. Are you with me in all this
Mhm.
so far?
Mhm. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay. And then you can create a main video sales letter, which is more like educating them on that campaign argument, but you're kind of going a little bit more in depth about how your process works. So you could look at ours on our website, and I kind of walk through like, hey, if you were to work with us in scaling with systems, first thing we do is the first 7 days we refine your offer. Then we're going to work on your marketing systems. Then we're going to start running ads to it. Then we work on client success. Then we work on operations. And I kind of give a
Mhm.
timeline and a roadmap of what stuff would look like working with us. And then I say, go below and book a call to speak with us. And so now people that are booking a call to speak with us, they already understand our campaign argument. They already know what we do is unique, and they already know what we do and how we help people, which makes the sales calls way better than what it was
Mhm.
before, which was people coming in and being like, yeah, I saw that you had an ad about scaling businesses. What is it that you guys do? And it's very hard in 60 minutes to take somebody from that to like a closed deal versus like I watched 2 or 3 of Ravi's videos. I saw his video on his website about how you guys do the process. I just have specific questions about how this would work for my business, and that's a totally different conversation for the salesperson at that point.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, and I 100% agree. That's where our bottleneck is at. Is just like exactly what you said. It's really hard to take people from like I have to take this, never heard of you guys or whatever, to give us $2,000 to $5,000 versus like the ones that our word of mouth referral, which is what we're trying with like a video sales letter that's done right. Like you're saying with like the self-sustaining funnel that you guys have is basically they're almost like that. You're trying to recreate that like referral from someone where they actually know, like, and trust up front. And the ones that we have got referred, it's like they close in like 10 minutes on the thing. They're like, oh, my buddy to this. And it's just, here, I want to take it It's not even like it says more of an order call.
Exactly. And imagine now if like that was all of the people that you spoke with, because YouTube becomes your referrer at that point. They're building the
Mhm.
trust on your behalf at no additional cost to you, right? It just takes time. I'm going to rapid fire a bunch of other notes that I have in here that's kind of going to go along this process so I can make sure that we
Mhm.
end relatively on time. Here's some thoughts that I had. First of all, I would update my messaging on my sales funnels and everywhere to match what we had said, what your avatar is. So instead of talking anything about like the residency part of things, I would talk mostly about tutoring. And once again, you don't want to say that you're a tutor, because if you're a tutor, you're the same tutor as everybody else, right? I like the word roadmap to residency, and you need to kind of create what's known as a unique mechanism. It's outside the scope of this video, but if you're like, hey, I can tutor you to help you get your thing, they can go and get a tutor for $20 an hour, right? So we want to
Mhm.
really stay away from the word tutor, and instead we want to focus more on like, my headline would be something like why dozens of medical students are trusting the roadmap to residency process that follows a reverse tutoring flow in order to get 100% pass rate for their medical test, right? So if they were to Google reverse tutoring flow, nothing would pop up. So it's like, okay, now you're doing something unique in the marketplace that's different from everybody. So self-sustaining funnel, I made that phrase up. What we do is like, it makes sense. And that's something that we've built and been using for the past few years. But the actual phrase of what we do, which was a unique mechanism, I made that up myself. So if people were watching our video sales letters that are coming from YouTube, then they would not be able to find anywhere else of anybody talking about the self-sustaining funnel. A great example is like, a lot of people are like, oh, run DM ads. I'm a DM ad coach, a direct messaging ad coach on Instagram. The problem with that is that, okay, someone could literally go to YouTube and watch how to run DM ads, and they don't need you to help them be a coach on how to run DM ads. So you either create a system that's a unique
Mhm.
mechanism, and that's what people are buying into whenever they're landing on their. That's what's interesting people whenever they're landing on your sales page in order to book a call, and that's what you would put on that one pager for your messaging, and so you can use that in all of the
Mhm.
content that you're creating. So if I was doing a short, hey guys, it's Mark here, founder of the Upside Down, I forgot what I said, reverse tutoring flow, and I'm going to talk to you about why this medical school test is the most important test of your life, right? So now you're starting to create consistency in the messaging between your short form, your long form, the ads that we're going to be creating, and then the actual sales pages themselves. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Cool. Another thing I would do is I think one of the biggest things is, do you have any kind of calendar questions right now or application questions before they book a call to speak with you?
We do, and it just depends how they book in. So I mean, we definitely need to organize that a little bit better. I mean, if it's like booked off like a similar to like a Calendly link, then yes, they go through that. If it's like the AI chatbot that books them, then they just try to qualify it on their end, but to like go into like the booking flow, but it doesn't have before.
Okay. So that's another thing I'd recommend doing. I would create a terminal point. It's what I essentially
Hmm.
call like where you're driving all your traffic to from every different website, every different YouTube short form, long form ad
Hmm.
should all go to one page, which should really be your video sales letter page. Because the
Okay.
problem is that if everybody's coming in from different areas, like the chatbot, the YouTube,
Hmm.
then they're all going to have different contexts when you get on the sales call with them. And so then you're going to have like 24 different sales calls with different contexts of different people understanding different things a week, which is
Hmm.
very difficult to do, right? Versus
Hmm.
everybody comes in from all this top of funnel content to one main terminal piece of like a video sales letter asset, and you're
Hmm.
transitioning them from top of funnel, like problem aware, maybe solution aware, into what's known as product aware. And you're saying like, okay, you have a pain, you want to take the this test and pass it. You've heard of the reverse tutoring system. Let me walk you through what it actually is. And then you spend 10 to 20 minutes walking through that and your testimonials and your case studies. And then from there, they go to the calendar page to book a call to speak with you. And now every person that you're getting on a sales call with has seen the same content. And now you can, instead of your sales call just being this like thing that's on an island over here on its own, it is just a continuation of what the video sales letter is. And once again, going back to what I said earlier, it's a consistency of that messaging from beginning to end. Are you with me on all that?
Hmm. Yep, makes total sense.
Okay. 1,000,000%, I would recommend creating calendar questions after
Hmm.
they watch the video. And so just a few ideas I had based on the stuff that you had here. One of them, I would ask for their phone number. And for us, we have certain countries that if they apply and they're in a certain country, we will not allow them to book a call to speak with us. So for a great example is India. My dad's from India. I have nothing against India, but we've taken tens of thousands of sales calls, and the people that close from India, it's like 0.1%. It's just like such a low number. And so if I'm trying to have my sales calendar be filled with as qualified people as possible, I would only want to keep it with people that are in places that I know had a higher chance of closing. So a great example for that is the United States, right? So like people that have a +1, that's United States country code, you would want them to be able to book in your calendar. People that had an Indian area code, if you know that those people don't have enough money, you could potentially even just redirect them to your school community where they could buy on their own the monthly or annual membership of your
Okay.
program. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So yeah, just the one because yeah, so we don't get inundated with like people that are never going to buy because that's what we're
Exactly.
currently experiencing is we have a lot of people that would like it. We just have to do it for free for them effectively. So
And that's gonna, and you're also gonna add additional questions on there. So another question I would ask is how long until you take this test? Right. So that's another
mhm,
thing I'd be curious about. If they're 2 years away or a year away, then it would be difficult like they don't have as strong as a pain point as somebody who's maybe 3 months away, right? Because if somebody who has watched this video sales letter or watch our content and they're 3 months away, they're pretty close to probably buying. And that's why I've always loved, like I told you, I had another client that we did this for. That's why I've always loved
mhm,
stuff like this, where there's like a date. Like I also like fitness offers when they help people that are
mhm.
getting married. Because when you have a hard date, now you don't have to fake scarcity, or I'm sorry, you don't have to fake urgency. There's real urgency that you have to get this done before you do this. So if you had somebody who's from the United States that and they have the test within 3 months, that's a really good qualified sales call,
Mhm.
in my opinion, right? That would be somebody who has probably a strong pain point. So another question I would ask is how far out, and if they're greater than 12 months, I probably wouldn't take that sales call, right? Another question I would ask is maybe something around financials. So it could be something
Mhm.
like, because I guess they're medical students, so they're probably not earning any
Mhm.
money.
We've been
You could
asking
just
like if you or your parents can afford to invest in your education to further a yes or no kind of thing.
Okay, great. I think that's fine. You might want to include an actual number or just be like,
Okay.
to work with us to use the reverse tutoring system, it's going to be anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000. But we guarantee results or something like that. Do you have access to those money? Once again, somebody says no to that, then you don't let them book a time on your calendar, right? So now, like right now, let's say you're getting hundreds of calls on your calendar, but maybe 5% of them match all of these qualifying questions. But
Mhm.
now, once you make these qualifying questions up front, you're only going to get those 5 people on your calendar. And so, sure, your cost per call is going to increase significantly. But now you can take, instead of having those 5 calls buried somewhere between 100 calls that you're taking over 3 weeks, you'd have those 5 calls tomorrow and close maybe 3 of them, liquidate your ad spend faster, and then be able to invest that back into ads. Make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense, and I agree with that. Yeah, making sure to like because we've noticed that too with about the ones that are like, oh, I'm gonna take it like 3 months from now. Those ones close versus the ones that are like, oh, like I dropped out of school and I'm thinking about doing this and getting back in it. I mean, like 1 out of 100 kind of thing because like they have no like commitment or like urgency, like getting on something like that. It's they have too much time.
And there's for everyone else who's watching this video that's inside of Scaling School, there is a great training in there called Show Up Secrets. And if you haven't used your credit this month, I highly recommend you use your credit to get Show Up Secrets. But I actually break down how to build this entire, like how to build a sales call scoring worksheet to where you can know how does someone's rated on a scale of 1 to 4 depending on what their questions are, and how to do the automated redirection of the different software, all of that stuff. I saw Melanie asked about that inside Prospect Flow. That's inside of Scaling with Systems. So you can check that out inside of there, what I was just talking about, Show Up Secrets. But I would 100% look at that because that's going to go more in depth for that. But remember, you're not going to say no to these people. You're just saying no to spending an hour on the call with them. And instead, you're going to redirect them to your low ticket community where you can slowly start building that up. And then eventually, maybe once they have consumed enough of your content, they're going to be a lot hotter and warmer. And then maybe you eventually will get on a sales call with them after they've been in your community for a few months.
Would you redirect them to like like a monthly school, or we have like a free Facebook group? Would you recommend
Um,
refer them over to like?
I would probably put them in I would try always to just send them directly to the payment page for
Okay.
the monthly school. The Facebook group I would
Mhm.
only use as like the final backup of like, okay, this person, if they've gone through this whole process, they've watched this video, they're probably pretty interested. So you might as well try to get the monthly payment out of them. And then if they don't do that, then you can offer something else. But like for me, I made a decision that we're not going to do any communities. Like scaling school, you have to pay to join scaling school. And then I'm not doing anything free. We have no free communities. All my free stuff is everything that's on my YouTube channel and all my free content out there. So I'm not doing any more. I'm not managing anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. And this is not being disrespectful. I'm just trying to get my time back. So now I can create one video on YouTube and send it to 10 million people and not do any additional work. And then if people actually do want to talk to me, they can at least spend the $97 a month to join Scaling School, if not spend more to join Scaling System Scaling Initiative. Make sense?
Makes all sense.
Okay. Final thing I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to let you ask me if you have any questions, and then we'll wrap this call up. The other thing that that you had said, which you kind of blew through a little bit, and I haven't seen your sales funnel, but the fact that you have 100% of people that take that work with you, that take the test, that pass, that would be in every single part of my messaging and my sales funnel and my video sales letters anywhere that I had it, right? So I would say, like, my title would be like, discover how 350 medical students have 100% pass rate using the reverse tutor system, right? Once again, I'm making all this up, but the 100% is true, right? And so it's 100% of people that have taken to have passed. I don't know what the average passing rate, but if the average passing rate is like 80% or something like that, then I would use that in my video sales letter. And I would talk about how this is so much higher. And maybe you could even offer a guarantee, maybe not a money back guarantee, but maybe, hey, we'll work with you on your second take if you don't pass it on the first take. And if you're already doing that, then I would just include that in your messaging and in your top of funnel stuff in your video sales letter. And I would say that, so we have 100% people that take the test, pass it, and 98% after that get into the residency, or 85% get into the residency of their choosing, right? And that brings me to the next point, which is I would definitely put systems in place in order to get feedback surveys from people after they've taken the test, and then people that after they got in the residence, so you can have those hard numbers, because you do want to be careful about saying like 100% unless it actually is 100%. So it sounds like you've worked with just enough people that you know that it's 100%, but as you really start scaling this, it can be very difficult to be able to know that without systems in place. So it's like, for example, if I had a client that paid me $5,000 for the group coaching, then I would have some kind of system set up to that on their onboarding. Once they paid, they'd fill out an onboarding form. On the onboarding form, they'd say what their due date is. I'm sorry, what their test date is. That would go inside of some kind of system, my client management system, which we also have in Scaling School, our client management pipeline. But I would have a client management system that says, okay, Bob Smith's test date is going to be April 15th, 2023. Set a task that date or 2 days before to send Bob a gift card for, I don't know, some Starbucks or something like that, so that he has something either on the test date or after the test to be able to relax. Like for me, after I took my test, I went to Chick-fil-A, so it could be like, hey, enjoy a milkshake on us. So that's like really great for just surprising and delighting your clients. And then you could have an automated survey or something that goes out afterwards, like 2 days after they take this. I don't know how it works with this test. For the LSAT, you had to wait 3 months, which was like the most brutal.
That's how it is with this too.
Okay, yeah. It's like, I don't know why people are so fucking backwards. It's like, just do it virtually and but anyway, the point being that, wait until those tests come out for that. I'm sure then if it's like the LSAT, then there's probably like 4 times a year that the test take, and then there's also those times that before that these people have gotten their test scores back. So you could just have a recurring task inside your project management software that was like, okay, on this date, have your VA or somebody or you reach out to all these people with a form and say, great, you should have gotten your scores back. If you can let us know what you got, et cetera, et cetera. And now you can start tracking that, not only to improve your products, but also to use in your marketing material that 100% of people have passed. And you could show, for example, imagine you're on a sales call, because a lot of people today can just make really bold claims. So imagine you're on a sales call and you're like, 100% of people that have worked with us on a one-on-one basis have passed their tests. And check it out. Here's a Slack channel with all the applications, the feedback surveys that I've gotten, and you can see what their responses are. And they've all said in their own words that they got 100% or that they passed the test.
No, yeah, it makes total sense. And yeah, we have like a landing page, and we're happy to show it or whatever as well. But yeah, we have it. They kind of like houses some of that stuff with like the screenshots of like old test grabs and everything that they have like sent us.
Beautiful.
And everything.
And I know I said the final thing a second ago, but the other thing I'll tell you is that a really great lesson for everyone that's watching this video, a really good video sales letter, it will interweave case studies and testimonials in the video sales letter. So I think a mistake that some people make is they like in a video sales letter or at the end of the video sales letter, they like just batch a bunch of case studies or testimonials all together. But instead, what you want to do is, you have people's attention for such a short amount of time that you really want to interweave it in the video sales letter. So if I was you and I was doing a video sales letter, I would be like, what's going on, guys? It's Mark here. I'm the founder of the reverse tutor system. And as of right now, we have 100, the only test system, tutor system that has 100% pass rate for the medical exam. And like, as I'm saying 100% pass rate for a medical exam, I'd show up on the screen all those little screenshot grabs of what I'm saying. So it's like, it's the proof of what I just said. And then I'd be moving on to the next thing. So in literally 5 seconds, you have made a claim, backed it up with proof, and now you're on to the next part on the video sale. And that's how you turn what would be traditionally an hour-long video sales letter into 10 or 15 minutes that people stay engaged and watch all the way through.
Okay.
Cool. I'll open it up for you for just a few questions, if you have any for me that you didn't get clarity on, and then we'll wrap the call up.
All right, sounds good. I think that makes sense. So basically just more consolidating, focusing like all the ads and outreach on the tutoring offer. And then I guess with once we kind of like we have a lot of things that are directed at that with the current like Facebook ads and everything that we've created with that, would you recommend doing it as like just like a like video sales letter or like a direct form on Facebook, like with your other client that you did MCAT with? Like what did he succeed with? Because it's like a pretty similar offer. I'd say the only difference is like MCATs, they normally like, which are like undergrad students, they have like parents to help them. Med students are kind of in this weird space of like their parents kind of like, oh, you're old enough that you should be paying for yourself, but you still have no money. But that's the what do you see success?
I would run if you have an AI setter bot, then what I would do is I would run an instant form so that you can capture their name, email, phone number. And I would maybe add a qualifying question to the instant form where I said something like whatever the most important question could be. So for example, how far away are you from taking your test, right? Because you kind of want to prioritize these people because you can set a lot of appointments. Like a lot of our clients in scaling systems will set an additional 20% of the leads into calls just by outbound dialing those people as they come in, instead of just waiting for the video sales letter to do all the work for them. So I would do an instant form, name, email, phone number, and then how long until you take the test. And it could be like less than 30 days, 30 days to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 months plus. And then the other one could be, I haven't even like set the date yet. And those are also people I would consider very unqualified and probably not worth your time. And then from there, the thank you page would take them to the video sales letter. And I would do the video sales letter the way that I had broken it down here, following a campaign argument. You're explaining everything that you do. That's the same video sales letter you send from your YouTube channel, from your Instagram, all of that other stuff. It goes to that video sales letter. And then that video sales letter goes to the, goes to that application/calendar questions to pre-filter and pre-qualify people. And then of course, on the sales call. And you had mentioned earlier that when you're running ads, you're getting international people. You should definitely be running your Facebook ads only for people who are living in the United States. So I don't know if you're doing that or not, but sometimes Facebook will do it for people that are recently in or traveling into the United States. And so I would just change it to that because you definitely, even if it costs a little bit more money, you definitely just want people that are in the United States. Because remember, that was the avatar that we talked about earlier on in the day. We had said that the avatar needs to be somebody who's in the United States. And that means that you could take somebody who was in India or somewhere else. But once again, we'd probably rather just send them to the school community and only get on the call with the people in the United States or Canada or wherever else it would be that are like the top 5 first world countries.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Cool. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. If you're watching this video right now, and you're in the actual chat, drop a 1 down below if you guys like these videos. The first one we've ever done. If you guys got some value out of it, I'd love to see that. Also, Mark, people watching this video right now, if they're somehow not in scaling school, you've been in scaling school for a little bit yourself. What would you say to those people if they're watching this video?
I think that anybody that's either as a business or is thinking of starting one can get a lot of value out of the scaling school. Probably seen like a lot of Ravi's content on YouTube with SWS. It's awesome. There's all that plus a lot more great content, and it's really organized well. So you can kind of figure out where you are based on whether you're beginning or all the way up to, doing like multi-7 figures in your business. I think you can get a lot of great quality help and content from the coaches and also the video courses. And I think the thing that's a big value out of it compared to like with other courses or things that you can do is not just like throwing random content. It's actually like organized to a point where you're like, this is where I am at in my business. Here's like the actual steps I need to take to improve, and this is what I need to do to move to like the next step and next phase business, and then take the action on that, and then move to the next step. And then that's how you can actually have something that's like organized, scale, and scalable.
Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that, Mark. That's exactly, I had dinner last night with somebody and I had told them that that was I have not really found a community online that's like an actual organized setup of how to scale a business everywhere from zero to like $1 million a month online. And so that's why I built ours. So the fact that that's shining through makes me super happy. So Mark, absolute pleasure having you on here. Everybody else, thank you guys for joining us on here. Mark, be sure after you implement some of this stuff to maybe post some updates inside of the school community if it's working and let other people know about it. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Ravi. Really appreciate you having me on and giving me some feedback and chatting.
Awesome. My absolute pleasure. I'll talk with you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, for the first time ever, we just released an insane training bundle that has literally everything that I've learned going from $0 to $25 million online, plus $20,000 worth of free gifts that we're throwing in it, all for an insanely low price. If you want to get your hands on it, be sure to click the first link in the description down below now.